Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the Nhl Dfs slate for Wednesday, November 2nd. We got ourselves a simple two-game slate here tonight where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, some of my favorite value plays, and then wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals. We got the Flyers at Maple Leafs coming in at 7 goals right now. Penguins at Sabres at 6.5. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds. You can see the Maple Leafs are heavily favored to win, and then the Penguins are favored to win as well. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of my favorite line stacks here for tonight, starting with that first line for the Pittsburgh Penguins. We got Crosby centering Gensel and Rust. After losing 4 straight games, we saw the Pens put these guys back together, a line that played together all of last year and really dominated throughout the year. They did that throughout the playoffs as well prior to Sid getting hurt, and in their first 2 games back together, they are dominating with puck possession. You go look at their last 2 games, go to moneypuck.com. This line here has been the best line on both sides in expected goals, in puck possession, every statistic you look at. These guys are dominating when they're playing 5-on-5, and on top of that, all 3 of these guys play up on the #1 power play. Now, they have 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points to show here in their last 2 games, on top of 25 shots on net. Now, on the other side of that game, I kind of like that second line for the Buffalo Sabres as well. We got Cousins centering Peterka and Tuck. Now, these 3 haven't played a whole lot together 5-on-5 this year, but they have put up solid numbers as individuals, combining for 12 goals, 8 assists, 20 points through 9 games. And they should, for the most part, avoid that first line out of Pittsburgh, so you're not really getting any negative correlation there. They're going to play against the depth of Pittsburgh, which has not been very good as of late, which has partially caused them to lose 5 straight games. You're going to see Tuck play up on the #1 power play. Cousins plays down on the second against a struggling penalty kill for Pittsburgh as well. That has just hit at a 70.5% rate this year, the 5th worst in the NHL. Now, folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm going to have hockey content coming out for you guys all year long. Alright, now diving into some of these individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards, and I really want to try to get some exposure to that first line for the Sabres as well, of Thompson centering Skinner and Okposo, primarily focusing on Tage Thompson. But my one cause for concern there is they are going to match up against that Crosby line quite a bit here tonight. And if I'm playing the Crosby line, well, then that's obviously negative correlation. If I'm rolling out multiple lineups, I'm not afraid to play them in different lines. But based off of what I'm looking at here, this Thompson line is pretty much matched up against first and second lines on the opposing teams all year long. But Tage Thompson, I don't know if anybody's hotter than him over the past 3 games, where he's racked up 5 goals, 4 assists. And get this, he has 25 shots on net in those 3 games, hitting 15, 41.3, and 63 DraftKings points. Obviously, he's not going to be able to replicate that on a nightly basis, but it shows you the upside that he has, especially when he's shooting the puck like that. So I still think he's a good play, but like I said, I do believe he'll match up against that Crosby line quite a bit here tonight. Now, part of me wants to just get exposure to this Toronto Maple Leafs #1 power play as a whole that has scored at a 33.3% rate here over their past 5 games. You can stack it up with Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, and Riley, and then find some cheap plays to build around those guys. I don't mind that at all, but I don't mind going with a little pairing here of Tavares and Nylander either. We saw these guys kind of get split up here over the last few games. Nylander was actually centering his own line. We saw his production really dip, but now he's back with Tavares here, it looks like tonight, playing on the second line and again on that #1 power play. And both these guys are very affordable, especially considering it is just a 2-game slate. So I definitely want to get exposure to this entire #1 power play. but I don't mind doing a little pairing here and could even mix in someone like Morgan Rielly. And then I got Rickard Rakell there of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who's been shooting the puck at a really high rate this year. 41 shots on net through 10 games, which has led to 5 goals, 1 assist, and 10 plus DraftKings points in 7 of 10 games. You're going to see him play on that second line with Malkin and play on that number 2 power play, which kind of leads me to the notes here off to the right-hand side. Being that this is just a 2-game slate, we need to find ways to make our lineups unique, stacking up some second and third lines. Maybe you go with a Rickard Rakell stacked up with Jason Zucker, being that both those guys play on the number 2 power play, and mix in someone like Marcus Pettersson who gets time on the number 2 power play as well. Or do a full power play stack like I talked about with the Toronto Maple Leafs, or just do a full-on game stack. If you think one of these games is going to shoot out here tonight, the other game is going to be low scoring, don't be afraid to just stack up a full game, considering it is such a small slate. Now, moving over here to the defenseman, first guy I got there is Rasmus Dahlin, who is having a fantastic start to the season, probably playing like one of the best defensemen in the NHL right now, with 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points in 9 games, averaging over 3 shots on net per game, and averaging over 2 block shots per game. So he's really racking up DraftKings points in a number of different ways, which has led to him averaging 18.5 DraftKings points per game through those first 9 games. We're seeing him play about 25 plus minutes per night, playing up on that number 1 power play. So I definitely don't mind stacking up that Sabres power play, considering how bad the Penguins have been on the penalty kill, and Dahlin's going to get time on the penalty kill himself as well. And that's really the play here with Morgan Rielly and Jeff Petrie as well. Both these guys getting time up on their team's number 1 power play, so you can stack them up with those forwards while getting exposure to 2 guys here who are playing 22 plus minutes per night and playing on the penalty kill. Now, if Chris Letang does return here tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins, we will see Petrie drop down to the 2nd power play, to which you could then do a little stack here with Petrie and Pettersson. Being that those guys will get time together on the number 2 power play, you get a little correlation together there. On top of that, they play together 5-on-5, and it's not often you see people stack up defensemen on DraftKings, so maybe you can get a little unique with your lineups by doing that. Now, with Pettersson here, you're going to see him play on that number 2 power play no matter what, get time on the penalty kill, and been a guy that has kind of smashed value at this price here at $3,000. Definitely someone that can get you 3x value or double-digit DraftKings points. He's not someone who's going to get you 25 plus DraftKings points tonight, but could be a nice little value play. Now, for those of you who have been watching my videos for quite some time now, you probably know what I'm about to say. Being that this is just a 2-game slate, there's only 4 goalies available, there's a case to be made to roster any one of these goaltenders. It ultimately comes down to what the rest of your lineup is going to look like. Don't defeat yourself. If I'm playing Samsonov here tonight, then I'm not going to play a bunch of Philadelphia Flyers in the same lineup. So that's what it comes down to, is roster construction, but the safe consensus play here tonight is Ilya Samsonov, playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are heavily favored to win tonight at -305, and Samsonov has been very good at home this year, where he's undefeated with a 3-0-0 record, a goals allowed average of 1.96, and a save percentage of .927, and he actually has 5.2 goals save above expected this season, which is the 10th best amongst all goaltenders in the NHL. And as always, going to wrap up the spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Kyle Okposo of the Buffalo Sabres, who was recently bumped up to that first line with Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner, and getting time on the number 2 power play. He's only got 6 assists through 9 games, 0 goals, but for whatever reason, he has notoriously played well against the Pittsburgh Penguins, where he's racked up 15 goals, 25 assists, 40 points in 54 games throughout his career. Now, this last play here, or last 2 plays, was Scott Laughton and Owen Tippett. I like playing these guys together, both on that second line and number 1 power play, and very cheap plays here at $3,100 and $2,700. And the Philadelphia Flyers, for what it's worth, are not projecting to be very popular here tonight, but these 2 are really opportunity plays, considering that they are on the second line and number 2 power play. Laughton here has 3 goals through 8 games this year, but leads the Flyers in expected goals. Tippett has only played 3 games this year and just returned from injury, but in his first 2 games back, he has a point in both games with 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 shots on goal in each game as well. So I like the opportunity we're getting with the Flyer guys here. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. Ended up going 3-0 and sweeping the board last night. Even with an MLB pick. I am not notorious for putting out MLB picks, but that's the beautiful thing about prize picks. You don't just have to focus in on the NHL. If you want to mix in an MLB pick with an NHL pick and then cap it off with a Sunday NFL pick, you can by all means do that. Now, if you have not signed up for prize picks yet, but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely take advantage of. When you're signing up, use my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Now, the nice thing about Prize Picks is they match that deposit right away. So you're legit playing with house money or free money right off the bat. You don't have to earn that back as a bonus like some of these other DFS sites. Not here. You put $100 in today, you'll see them match $100 right in your account. You'll have $200 to play with. Again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Now, I can imagine that these props are going to be pretty tight here tonight, being that it is just a 2-game slate. It allows them to focus in on a handful of picks. But as I record here this morning, they only have props out right now for this game between the Flyers and Maple Leafs. I'm going to wait for those picks to come out between the Sabres and Penguins as well. And as always, I'll give you my final picks in a comment below on this video, and I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money here on this 2-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.